Our interest was to understand COVID effects and experiences and of course responses in the informal settlements and the commercial zones. Now one would ask, what are commercial zones if they're not in informal settlements? Or the reverse would be true, but that was our interest. Next slide, please. We have an implementing partner, SDI implementing partner in Kampala city, and that is referred to as ACTogether. And we've had a long-standing relationship with this partner for over 15 years now. And we went into this work as the Urban Action Lab, which I coordinate, and quite a number of people in the Urban Action Lab with whom we work, to understand urban-related issues across city environments. Next slide, please. This debate is very long, but what informed this particular project was that there are several inequalities that we observe in city environments, several injustices that we observe across city environments. But again, when it came to COVID, there was a bit that was supposed to do by communities in informal settlements and commercial zones. And together with the inadequacy of public health responses, there was a need to think through how could they grapple with the critical health concerns that were amplified by the COVID pandemic. Next slide, please. Now, just like George indicated, urban areas became the epicenters of the pandemic, and Kampala still stood out as the epicenter of COVID. What our interest then was to sort of examine collaborative coalitions that emerged as a response to handling the crisis in that city setting. Next slide, please. Now, while we were doing this work, many other tasks were being carried out by many other partners. And once we found this result that was done in partnership with KCCA, the authority that runs the city, together with our partners in the College of Engineering, Design, Art and Technology, they had mapped out this kind of situation to understand vulnerabilities across the city. What they did determine was that 25% of the population across the city environment, and this map is for the city region, the Greater Kampala metropolitan area, that 25% of that population was highly vulnerable. And about 47% was found to be moderately vulnerable. And 38 had or revealed lower levels of vulnerability. Now, that was in one way tell us something about where were these places that were vulnerable. We had places in the central business district, shopping malls and transaction offices and transport hubs, including what we considered as epicenters in the metropolitan area. Markets, shopping malls, churches, apologies for the spelling, transport hubs and schools. Next slide, please. Again, vulnerabilities were also revealed across a number of fragile groups, marginalized groups, including but not limited to the elderly, the youths, disabled persons with disabilities, and several other categories of people, including persons that are in the formal sector, especially the teachers. And of course, health workers were at a high risk of catching the COVID virus because they were the frontline persons that we considered then at that point in time. Next slide, please. Now, three things informed the work that we did. One was to explore how COVID-19 and the measures associated therein with managing it amplified health, economic, occupational, and social risks. We were also interested in examining the impact of lockdown measures and how these amplify the number of cases of COVID. But what's also very important is to understand, look, local level, lower level coalitions, and how do these, were the measures and experiences associated with the enforcement of these measures in public spaces allowed for reduction in COVID cases, and of course the actors that were implementing most of these measures would reveal a number of power-related tensions. So these three guided what we're interested in. Next slide, please. A long list of methods that it was an ambitious list of methodologies, but of course working with our partner ACTogether, of course persons in research and academia, the National Slum Dwellers Federation of Uganda, and of course the different structures, local administration across the city were very important. We handled the data collection through a number of focus group discussions. The numbers are indicated. We did some key informant interviews and of course document reviews, including videography, which I think we've shared with you a video about the issues that were revealed by this exercise. Next slide, please. This is not very relevant for now, but during the time we're doing this exercise, the idea about the number of cases showing that kind of patterns were just growing. Next slide. Again, we oscillated between strict lockdowns, relaxation of the lockdowns, and then we entered into the lockdowns. And on March 23rd, the president introduced what we call the magic 35 presidential directives. Those 35 presidential directives were implemented by quite a number of actors, including but not limited to the security personnel. So again, this is to illustrate what happened when, and again, my apologies that the text may not be easily read, but we can share the detail. Next slide, please. We were also collecting data under a framework which was top-down, that COVID responses were largely top-down. The president was at the top of all these COVID responses. And then he set in place, or government set in place what is considered the National Task Force, around which several other agencies handling specific areas on COVID mitigation were created, running from case management up to continuity of essential services. So within this top-down approach, our interest was then to say how much of local level actions evolved around which communities could then manage the circumstances. Next slide, please. Now, there is a lot of text here, but what is very important is to suggest from our data is that there was an absence, what we observed, an absence of synergies to facilitate what we considered local level actions into the formal systems. But that was against the background where the central government, or the state for that matter, was unable to monitor and contain local level actions. These were emerging randomly, and of course, communities were requesting for these actions to carry on with their work within their communities. Next slide, please. Now, there are a lot of actions that we observed in this particular study, but what's very important is to suggest in our report that locally contextualized response actions, in what we are calling self-organizing collectives and local horizontal governance structures emerged. And these coalesced to ensure that they could manage the circumstances that obtained in individual places across the metropolitan area. Of course, that goes with the cash transfer support initiatives, again, what we would call some forms of local philanthropy that emerged within humanitarian agencies, groups, even private individuals or groups of individuals or community-based organizations to ensure that people and local communities could cope with the pandemic. We can next slide, please. And that is with a specific background that across the greater Kampala metropolitan area, about 15% of the population is formally employed. And therefore, when you lock down a city, you're leaving 85% of the population exposed to the vagaries, and they cannot engage in productive activities. But there are 2 licensed voluntary schemes that we observed across Kampala City that became very active to ensure that they can provide social protection to communities, and what we are calling local forms of philanthropy that engaged in questions of food distribution in neighborhoods, communities or individuals that owned vehicles, private vehicles, would easily release their vehicles to deliver or evacuate persons that are sick. But of course, several other neighborhood groups around the issues that were amplified, socioeconomic problems or challenges that were amplified by the COVID pandemic. Next slide, please. Now, this more or less summarizes what the key messages that we're talking about, and there are several actors, and the actions are just right there. But what's very important is that across the greater Kampala metropolitan area, the number of civil society agencies that became very, very active, and the list is endless. And what I must also say is that even when we say informal settlements, there are multiple worlds within informal settlements. When we say commercial zones, there are multiple worlds within commercial zones. But these actors were very, very, very strong in those communities. Next slide, please. This should be the last one. We're also interested in questions of trust, legitimacy, and equity in COVID responses. What is very important is what we are calling the selective implementation of containment measures, and of course, largely the magic bullet, the 35 presidential directives that were intended to protect communities across the city selectively, and of course, enforcement was more or less what we call unfair on the part and how they were implementing questions of the curfew and the lockdown. This was very, very important. Questions of centralization of the whole entire process was very visible across the city from the top-down approach. Of course, questions of when the vaccines came in, we are talking about whether people trusted the vaccinations and the people circulating false news about the perceived immunity of the African population. And therefore, you don't need to go for vaccination. But later, when government was very serious about vaccination processes, we see questions of delays in the vaccination process, but also preferential treatment during the initial stage of implementation of the vaccination exercise. I wanted to stop at that. There is a lot more we can say, but that's sufficient for now.